Am I the asshole for being honest about why I no longer carry feminine supplies? To start, throw away for privacy and sorry in advance for typos, I need a new keyboard. So I, 21M, work as a guard for a smallish warehouse. Since I started working here, I decided to carry a wide supply things that people may need in my backpack. Things like mints, gum, ibuprofen/Tylenol, bandages, etc. It got to the point where I earned the name Pack, as people joked that I was like a pack mule with all the shit I carried on me. Basically, if someone needed something, there was a 9/10 chance that I had it or something close. I did this as a way to talk to people and strike up conversations. This incident revolves around a couple basic items I carried. Feminine products. Things like pads, tampons, basic perfume/deodorant, and some lotion. I noticed my female coworkers often needed these, and as we worked night shift, no stores were open for them to run to on break. It was a massive success, you could say. A lot of the women were either grateful that I had them or surprised that a guy wasn't ashamed to carry them. The incidents surround one woman, Jane Doe. So it was last Monday, and I was manning the gate with a coworker, John. As I am writing the logs for incoming trucks, Jane pulled up to leave through the gate. And John asks why she was leaving early. We have to ask. And Jane said she had to go get some pads. And I spoke up and said, John, go in my bag, zipper with the pink tag. There's regular and heavy. So John gets them and offers them to her, and she takes some. And she just had this weird look on her face and mutter thanks, and went back into the warehouse. John and I didn't think anything of it, and went back to our duties. Well, flash forward to last Tuesday, and I got called into HR. They sat me down and gave me a talking to for making a female coworker feeling uncomfortable and unsafe. I was confused and asked what they were talking about. HR clarified that Jane had lodged a complaint against me. Luckily, they let me tell my side of the story and reviewed the camera footage from our gate booth. So HR cleared me and just advised me to steer clear of Jane for a while. Jane told all of her work friends about it, so a rumor was born that I was a creep. Well, I can tolerate someone going to HR, because if I did nothing wrong, I have nothing to fear. But I won't tolerate being called a creep. Context for that, I started balding at 16 and am overweight. So all through high school I was called creepy and weird for my looks. So I decided that if it was creepy that I had these products, then I would stop carrying them. I took them out of my bag and left them in HR's office. This led to all of the women in the warehouse from asking me what happened and why I stopped carrying the products. I told the truth and referred them all to confirm with HR if they didn't trust me. Ever since, Jane has been disliked and very unpopular. She called me an asshole for causing her to be alienated and basically bullied. I don't feel bad about it. So am I. Not the asshole. Jane was using her need for feminine hygiene products to duck out of work. You stopped her from leaving work early. Pretty sure she didn't need pads. She was just using it as an excuse. Now she's having to deal with the consequences when everyone else basically praised you for being a stand-up guy. She won't last long. Don't stress. This happened last Tuesday, and now all the women in the warehouse are asking you where your emergency supplies are. How many women you mean to imply exist, but at least 2 women have had their period and had nothing ready? In 1 week. Not the asshole, but I'm confused. Wouldn't a better solution be to ask your manager to stock them in the women's room rather than encouraging people to come talk to you? And if you're working with such a large number of women, why don't they ask each other for backup supplies? This situation just doesn't sound that believable. I don't believe a word of this. There is no way this story is real. I'm all for women not being shamed for normal bodily functions, but I don't believe that all the women in the warehouse are so comfortable discussing their periods and feminine hygiene products with a young man. I could also go through and point out all the other weird things about this story, but it's probably clear to others that this was written by AI or as a creative writing exercise. Am I the asshole for not giving half of my fortune to my brother? I, M30, and my brother, M32, are not so close from the beginning mainly due to favoritism and I being the unwanted middle child. We have a younger sister, F29. We have farm lands, but the farm were not so huge and yield of the farm is comparatively very low, not enough for our family. So when my mom got an opportunity to send one of her sons to foreign land to work, she decided to send me instead because she wanted her favorite child to be with her, my brother. Even though I got married recently, and leaving for work means leaving my wife here at the village, because the pay and working conditions were not good enough alongside, I have to keep on sending money at home also. I left for work and worked for 5 years with only 2 home visits a year. Tough time for my wife and kid. I also had to miss my childbirth because of this, but I never regretted that because I always used to think that the struggle I am doing now will make future of my children bright. In those 5 years I gained a lot of exposure and decided to start something of my own. For this I had to sell half of my share of land. My family, mother, brother and sister, were not so happy about it as they thought I am doing something very stupid. They didn't support any of this, but I still did it, and it turns out to be the best thing I have ever done in my life. My business made me a good chunk of money, then I finally decided to move my wife and kid out of the village and settle in city where I purchased a new house. Everything was going well for me until my mom, brother, and sister demanded that whatever fortune I made should be divided equally between me and my brother. Their reasoning for this is I only get to work outside and get the exposure for my business because my brother took care of my family at the village, and if not him I were never able to even get out of the village. So whatever success I got after moving out of the village was not of my own, but a shared success with my brother, and he should get half of it. While my reasoning is I never choose to go, I was forced because he wanted to stay, and we didn't have enough for all of us. Whatever time I was outside working I was sending money home regularly, so it's not that he's taking care of my family for free. He getting paid for it also. When I was out east my brother used to work on my share of land, also, so whatever money generated from it used to go to him only, not to my wife. I would also like to mention that if I choose someone else to work on my land, then I would have got a much higher amount than the amount my brother was telling me he's generating from my share of land. But I didn't because deep down I also wanted him to be present for my family, even though that means sacrificing some money. My extended family and my community is also supporting my brother claims, and everyone except for my family and my wife family are against me and calling me asshole for not giving half of my fortune to my brother. You were sent away to work and send money back to them. You've more than done your share, and they haven't been supporting you. Not the asshole. If I were you, I'd stop sending anything back to them. They haven't been treating you like family for years. They've been treating you as a source of income that they don't have to worry about. Not the asshole, my guy. You are still the unwanted one, just with money now, and they try to do what they always did and push the thumb onto you to gain an advantage from your work. Distance yourself from these horrendous people and free yourself from that. You and your wife deserve a life of your own. Not the asshole. It's not your job to parent your brother. Not the asshole. You made that money for your family, your wife and child. Your brother can make his own money. Not the asshole. They see you as a bank account, not family. They would never do it for you if he had been the one to leave. You're an adult. Focus on your family, wife and kids, and they can figure it out in their own. So you get a third of everything they own? You get a third of the farm again. What if the opportunity went wrong and you owed £100,000 in debt? Would they pay £33,000 for you, or would that be your debt? Am I the asshole for not letting my roommate eat my groceries after they forgot their wallet? I live with a roommate who came home late and said they had forgotten their wallet at work. They asked if they could just grab some of my food, this one time. I said no. I don't like lending food. It's not just money. It's that I plan my meals and buy specific things for myself. They got really annoyed and said I was being petty and not a friend. They ended up ordering takeout, but kept sulking for the rest of the night. The next day, they told our other roommate I was being selfish, and now everyone's giving me side eyes. I don't feel like I did anything wrong. I'm happy to help in emergencies, but forgetting your wallet isn't really an emergency. Am I the asshole? Edit. There are some things I forgot, y'all. First, I always ask them if they need any groceries in the house. When I go shopping, I just ask to be paid back for it, and they decline every time. Second, I told him we have bread for toast or a sandwich, and he decided to order takeout. I am getting absolutely chewed up in the comments face with tears of joy, but that's okay. I love hearing everyone's opinions and reactions, and seeing more outcomes I could have, or should have done, and will consider doing in the future. If they can order takeout, why not just pay you back? Sounds like they wanted free food. Not the asshole for standing up for yourself and your pre-prepped food. They ordered takeout, but didn't have any money? If their phone has a card stored, etc., Apple Pay or whatever, then they can also go buy groceries. I don't like lending food. This is an interesting concern of yours. While it's technically not your responsibility to feed others, something happened with your upbringing that a simple ask of sharing a meal with someone who doesn't have any makes you size up that person so aggressively that you actually denied a person your food and also came to complain to Reddit about it, says kind of a lot man. Obviously your roommate ordered takeout, so they had money to eat, thankfully. But what if they weren't able to eat that night? You saw they ordered food, so you know they did. But up until that moment you were totally fine with your friend just not eating. You actually openly said no. You are definitely asshole pocket checking food. Looking at comments, it seems you are already comfortable with your choice. You keep repeating, he just wanted my food so he didn't have to pay. If you are so sure, why are you here? Didn't have his wallet, but was able to pay for takeout? Fishy. What person in this day and age can't eat at their house, just because they forgot their wallet? Does roommate not keep any food at home? And why not use the phone as a payment method for in-person, pickup, or delivery groceries? Am I the asshole for not picking up my sister's kids from school? My sister has 3 kids. The oldest lives with my parents and has their entire life. The youngest 2 live with my sister. I have 2 kids of my own. Our town does not have bus transportation for kids that live in town or out of district limits. At the beginning of Christmas break, my sister's car broke down. My dad drove it to a shop where it's been sitting ever since. The day it broke down, my sister was given my dad's vehicle to borrow. My parents have 2 vehicles and my dad is retired, so for the length of Christmas break, it wasn't a huge issue. My mom works 7 out of every 14 days, 3 days 1 week, 4 days the next. I told my dad before NYE that if my sister still didn't have a car by the time school started, she'd have to figure out transportation for the kids that live with her for days that my mom works. My husband and I share a vehicle, and he leaves for work immediately after I get home from picking up our kids. We live right down the road from my parents, so picking up and dropping off the child that lives with them isn't a big deal. My sister lives in a different city and pays public transit to bring her kids to the schools in our town every day, but doesn't have them take the public transit home, and at least once a week relies on my father to pick up her kids and take them home. Today came the day I knew was coming. My mom has to work, my dad has no vehicle, and my sister's middle kid need a ride home from school. My sister's youngest is at the dad's today, so that's covered. My sister never figured out transport for the middle child. My car cannot safely fit 3 across in the back seat with car seats and booster seats, so the only kid I have room to pick up is the one that lives with my parents. I don't have time to make multiple trips to the schools before my husband leaves for work, and will not transport more kids than is safe to do so. Roads and sidewalks are clear of snow, it's above freezing, and the walk from the school to my parents' house is less than a mile. They've walked to my parents from school before, it's not new to them. So I told both my parents and my sister that she'll have to walk home, like I said well before today got here. In being told my husband can leave late for work, and that I have a grudge against my sister, so am refusing to help her and taking it out on her child. Am I the asshole? To be clear, the middle child needs to get to my parents' house, not her house in another town. My parents set it up with me beforehand to bring the oldest to their house. My sister waited until 2 hours before school got out to message me. Honestly, it's on your parents and sister to sort out. While they offered parental kindness to your sister, they chose to raise the oldest grandchild and lend out their car. Now they're trying to make you feel guilty and say your husband can just be late to work? No, your husband cannot just be late. That's not a thing. Your sister is responsible for figuring out transport for her kids, and any help she gets from you or your parents is a bonus, not a right. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Your sister needs to handle it instead of expecting your husband to go into work late. Why can't the child walk, since they have before? Your sister needs to get her crap together and get her car fixed. The walk is less than a mile. Not the asshole. I'm too European for this. Not the asshole. You warned them well before it happened, and they don't get to determine if your husband is late for work. Lack of planning on their part is not your emergency, especially with that much time and warning. Not the asshole. Your sister had weeks to get something figured out, and your parents had weeks to figure something out since they appear to enable her so much.